Women's basketball team is at Ohio on Wednesday. Go ahead and fire away with questions for Coach Miller.
Coach, will you talk a little bit about OU, especially how are they different from the team you met earlier in the year?
As most teams, they continue to grow and improve throughout the season. I think the thing that jumps out right away about OU from the first time we played is we played them without Portia Harris, who is a dominating low post presence for them, is talented as any low post player in our league when she gets on a roll. And so we did not have to play against Portia Harris, so brings them a post present. In the second half, their starting point guard, Ashley Fowler, got hurt in our game. So in a close, contested game the first time here, they played probably the last 15 minutes without Ashley Fowler. So right off the bat, they're going to have more of a complete roster against us. Two, I think the thing that jumps out at you stat-wise is that they're 10-5 at home. And they've done a great job of protecting home court, and it's been hard to go in there and win this season. So it will not be an easy place to play. Lastly, their pressure defensively has just absolutely continued to increase and been really impressive. They're coming off a game where they forced Kent State into 32 turnovers. And it wasn't just pressing, and it wasn't Kent State just having a bad day. They are forcing teams to play at a tempo that is they're uncomfortable. Teams get uncomfortable at. They rush. They're trapping a lot in the half court. They're really, really aggressively in passing lanes, forcing you to go backdoor and getting a lot of deflections. So they've been really impressive in the second half or in the month of February with their defensive pressure. So it is a tough game, a game that you look back at the final score was not indicative of how close that game was the first time without a full cupboard for them. And now they have more players back.
Will you talk a little bit, Curt, about playing this year? I mean, there are not a lot of blowouts that are on your one-loss mark. I mean, we talk a little bit about playing tough game after tight game, I guess is what I'm looking for there.
You know, the hard part for us shooting, what are we shooting? 26% now or something like that from the three-point line in conference play. In conference, people grind you out. It doesn't, at times, you don't get as up-tempo. And when you're a team this year that is going 2 by 2 by 2 and not hitting back-to-back threes or scoring a lot from the arc, they're lower scoring, it's closer, it's tighter. And there's no doubt that we're static with the way we've played defense this year and rebounded, and there's a reason that we lead most defensive categories in the MAC. Our defense is winning games, but our offense isn't allowing us to get as much separation as we'd hope. So you've got to dig in and play those close games because they're lower scoring and we're not shooting the ball like we have in the past or certainly capable even this year. We've really struggled at times to score the basketball. So the bad news is that a lot more close games. The good news is this team has a refuse to lose attitude. I really believe that it's that. I mean, they've refused to lose some games when we have not played well offensively, and I'm proud of them for that. But in the big picture, they know if we don't play better offensively, you know, there's going to be a night where our defense doesn't bail us out, or there's a night where offensively just a team gets on such a roll that we can't stop them. And if we can't score with them, we're going to get beat, and we understand that our offense has to pick up.
You kind of addressed it a little bit. It seems to me you're looking at this as a positive thing. This team is not getting into blowouts and is kind of learning what it needs to do to win. Am I reading you right on this one?
Really positive with our defense and positive with our refuse to lose attitude. I mean, they're finding ways to win games. And with a team that came into the year with inexperience on the court and playing time and just actual that kind of experience, unbelievable. There's no doubt there's always, you know, the reverse side of that is our offense is struggling for consistency, and I don't believe we can achieve some of the goals we desire if our offense doesn't improve. But real positive, looking at it the other way.
We jump ahead to Saturday, then it's going to be senior day this week, and you'll have Mary Beth there, I assume?
Correct.
And Jessica. Could you just talk about, even with the small class, how important seniors are and how important this day is for them and their teammates?
Well, it's a big day, for them. Potentially last time ever in Stroh. They're another class, the latest recruiting class to win over 100 games in their career. Jess Slagle has been an unbelievable leader this year after the graduation of 6 seniors. She has accepted the change from her natural wing position into a point guard and is just having an unbelievable year. But what she'll never get credit for is her leadership behind the scenes with a young team and pushing them and challenging them to do some of the things that we've done. Mary Beth has had an unbelievable year with attitude, considering her career was cut short with a medical situation. Honestly, just an unbelievable person on and off the court, and means so much in day-to-day leadership in her own way. Seeing how positive she can be, even though she never gets the reward of playing in games anymore. This senior class has been simply amazing, considering some of the things that have been thrown at them and the challenges that they knew that they were going to have this year. It's been a fun year. With that, Miami, and still fighting for seeding and fighting for championships. What a great way to go out! And if you can finish, this with one more win, you win 14 wins in your inaugural season in Stroh, and your only loss is to a nationally ranked Purdue team. What a great way for those seniors to, help usher in the Stroh era. And, Mike can probably answer more, but, I think we could probably look up. There's been probably very, very few seasons with 14 home wins in a year, because we just frankly don't get that many home games. But it's got to be near the record for home wins in a season.
With the NCAA tournament being here this year, and knowing that if you win the conference, you could play here again, how much does that sit in the back of everybody's head that, what an awesome potential opportunity that could be out there, even though, of course, it's not one game?
It's an unbelievable kind of bubble out there. We've never talked about it. You frankly forget about it at times, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, if we win the tournament this year, we get to play at home. We already know where we're going. So it's out there, but it was so far-fetched at the beginning of the year, so far-fetched that, that was a reality that, we haven't dwelled on it. But what an unbelievable opportunity. But we have a lot of work ahead before we can think of that. But, we take care of business, and with this new format, in the MAC tournament, you give yourself a chance.
On Saturday, I was here, but I was watching on the streaming thing. I noticed that Slagle had a knee brace on and hadn't had that on for quite a while. Is that right? Is there a problem that we should know about, or would you rather not say?
No problem. The wear and tear of a season. She's had a couple knee-to-knee collisions in practice with the men's practice players and with our teammates. That is the wear and tear of a long season, but nothing other than that.
Curt, you kind of alluded to her move from off guard to point guard, but will you talk a little bit, and I'm just saying here, the coach, I've been told, is kind of hard on his point guards. Will you talk a little bit especially about that relationship? I would think that's been I hate to say love-hate, but I'm sure that's been a unique relationship.
It's been our relationship's great. We joke all the time, and she will absolutely be so mad I say this to the media, but Jess Slagle's Curt Miller. We are so much alike. And I finally figured it out about halfway through her sophomore year. And I said, I finally figured you out. You are just like me. Passionate, intense, moody, and we're so much alike. And so it's actually been a lot easier than people think, this transition, because she's a leader, she's fiery, she wears her emotions on her sleeve, and so we really understand each other. We hate, she hates to admit that we're alike, but it's been fun that way. It's hard to be the point guard. You have a lot of pressure in this program with the ball in your hands, and to be in attack mode all the time, and to have to run the show. But the reward for that is the credit that the point guards get within this program is documented. We've had 3 starting point guards in our first 10 years. All 3 of them became all-conference. 2 of them became all-Americans. It's a system that features the point guards. It's a system that point guards get a lot of credit when they run well. And Jess has had an unbelievable year. And I hope that, in a few weeks, that the MAC voters step up and vote her what she deservingly deserves, is another point guard in the Bowling Green system that became all-conference. And so there's a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of reward, and there's a lot of credit given, and rightfully so, to that position. But it's been fun. Jess's attitude so mirrors mine that we think alike and we act alike, and so she truly is, that it's talked about a lot, but she truly is my extension, my coach on the floor.
Talking about her play at point guard first, I mean, will you just talk about her development as a point guard over the course of the season?
Her development, as a backup point guard in the role early on in her career to now, the predominant position that she's playing is, she's a good point guard in terms that she attacks, and we keep her in attack mode. The thing that she's had to curtail a little bit is she's a high-risk, high-reward point guard at times, where she gambles with some passes. And, Tracy was very steady with the ball, but she very rarely gambled with the ball. Kate Octor very rarely threw fancy passes or tried to squeeze things in. They were very steady, but they weren't high-risk, high-reward. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. The thing that probably Jess has had to curtail the most is she wants to gamble at times. She wants to thread that pass between 2 people. She wants to be the Brett Favre. She wants to really gamble at times and go for the home run. And she's had to pick and choose her battles more because the turnovers could really, really compile if she always played like that. And so one of the big adjustments is that she has to pick her battles as being that gambler that she used to be in the past in her spot moments at the point guard position.
Is there a part of her game that you wish that you could take the Curt Miller out of her?
Yeah, I think that when you have an emotional, fiery, competitive player like Jess Slagle is, at times when things are struggling, and we certainly have had our struggles offensively at times this year, is that she'll almost try too hard. And that's just how we're both wired, that we're fixers. If it's not going to work, we're going to try harder. And not always smarter, but we try harder. And that there's times where I just want her to be smarter out there and not just harder, because sometimes it just spins so hard that she gets herself into more trouble because she's over trying. And but that's how we both are. When things aren't going well, we're just going to try harder.
It was kind of a gamble that you as a staff took early in the season, because correct me if I'm wrong, you guys didn't start the year thinking that Jessica Slagle was going to be your starting point guard. Am I right to say that?
Fair to say that.
Okay.
We thought there was going to be a great battle between Jillian and incumbent Logan Pastor. You had a sophomore with little experience and a freshman, and we were real comfortable with Jess at the wing, and knowing that she's played some backup point guards, we could always get her there. And we just realized that we were a better defensive team with Jasmine Matthews on the floor. Jasmine Matthews was shooting the ball well, and so we made that adjustment for a variety of reasons, and really have been comfortable with that adjustment. And now we have Logan and Jillian as backup point guards, fighting time on who's playing better, what matchups is better for them in the game, but playing certainly Jess at a lot more minutes. maybe the biggest part of that decision making was the Jasmine Matthews coming onto the scene going, we have to have her on the floor. So it wasn't anything that Jillian did or didn't do, or Logan did or didn't do. It might be the emergence of Jasmine Matthews that made that decision the easiest.
This team bounced back well after its first loss in over 2 months last week. What can it do for a young team's confidence and psyche to enter postseason play on another winning streak?
You know, some people think you need to lose because you can't win that many games in a row. But right now, we're focused one game at a time and trying to get the top, as high a seed as possible. And so it would be fun to get on a roll. And I think, honestly, sometimes if we would just play a good offensive game, a lot of shoulders would drop, and we'd take a deep breath and go, okay, it's still in there. We still, can have a good offensive game and don't have to grind anything out. But what a tough schedule down the stretch. I mean, still 2 tough road places, and, against the other really, really caliber team in the East, and Miami at home. And it's a really, really tough stretch. We're capable of going 3-0, and we're certainly capable of going 0-3. If we got on a win streak and swept the East and won 5 straight to go into the MAC tournament, and that means we would be a 1 seed if we went 5-0. What a great momentum we'd have. I mean, that would be the dream. But right now, one at a time.
Any other questions?